I think the problem is that if people associate the divide like this, if you're a liberal, then you're far left.
Mm-hmm.
If you're right wing, then you're far right.
Right.
No, guys,
Exactly.
you can be
We
right
can
down
all
the middle of the
coexist.
road. I mean, just because you're right doesn't mean you're far right.
Yeah.
I mean, just because you're left doesn't mean you're far left.
Yeah.
I think people are missing a lot of opportunities to have really great friendships and really great memories with people that think differently than they do.
Amen. And welcome back to In the Booth. I'm Shawn Booth, and we appreciate you guys wherever you're listening from. Maybe you're in Connecticut, maybe you're in New Hampshire, maybe you're in Tennessee.
Maybe you're in Canada.
And maybe you're in Canada. We love the Canadians. We are here in Nashville, Tennessee, and this, you guys, is going to be a fun episode. Let me break it down for you. Across the way from me, in the love seat, she is beautiful. She is single.
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
She is looking for a man who's at least 6'5", looks like JJ Watt, and has a lot of money. You guys, today she's rocking some blue jeans, white shoes, and a Britney Spears t-shirt with that oh so curly hair. We got Curly Cat in the house, folks.
Curly
Cat.
Wow.
Hello,
That's
everybody.
solid.
Thank you for that
That's
intro.
nice.
That was intense.
Not as intense as this one. Got to get my notes out for this.
Okay. Wow.
To my left here in the hot seat today, folks.
Okay.
He is a country singer,
All right.
a radio personality,
Okay.
a Dancing with the Stars alumni,
True.
an actor.
Yeah.
Hallmark.
Depends on what your level of acting. It doesn't matter.
A podcast host,
True.
an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
owner of Milarosa Wines,
Yeah.
star and creator of the new hit show here in Nashville, Tennessee, Shiners.
Okay.
And he's also a father and a husband.
That's probably the most important thing.
And I'm calling it right now. I think that Chuck Wicks will be the mayor of Nashville, Tennessee
Oh,
one day.
I was thinking about that. The mayoral race is going on right now for Nashville, Tennessee. Do you have to live in the city? Because I live in Murray County. Do you have to live in the county to be the mayor of that county?
I don't know, but SamCat, tell me if you know anybody more qualified to be the mayor.
I don't. I think that he's basically done everything else. He might as well add politics to his list.
Yeah, hey, give it up for Chuck Elliott Wicks.
Yeah.
Hey,
Oh, the middle name.
Middle
Yeah.
name drop. That was intense.
Good.
That's good.
Elliot, 2 T's.
Yes, that's right. So that's a lot of stuff.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like I am very similar in that aspect where my whole life it's like more, give me more. It's like never enough.
Cue the song. More, give me more. Give me
Oh,
more.
it's a Britney song.
All right, perfect.
Gimme,
Are you like
More.
that?
Give me more.
You want more.
Yeah, all
Never
the
enough.
time. I'm never satisfied.
Never satisfied. Is that a problem, do we think? I'm
No,
the
I
same
thi-
way.
I think that's the way it should be. I think that's a good quality to have because if you just kind of like settle, life becomes boring. And I like to try new things and expand. And if you have the capability to do something with whatever God has given you, you should do it because if you don't use it, you're wasting it.
If you don't use it, you lose it. What is the number one thing? Or are you country singer Chuck Wicks? Obviously, besides dad and husband, we know that's number one.
Yeah.
If you had to put on your tombstone
Oh.
in a very long time from now, one sentence of Chuck Wicks, what do you want to be remembered by?
Well, if it was my music career, it would be a short sentence because a lot of people would be like, "Oh, well, the one song." Okay. No, music is like everything you just talked about, like doing things, and whether it's TV or film or like a business owner, or those all came from opportunities that stemmed from having a music career. So when I signed to RCA Records in 2007-ish, that opened up a lot of doors for me to meet some really interesting people or powerful people or people that could do things for you. So I always took advantage of those things. And I think it's all about relationships. Like, when I got in a room with some of the best songwriters in the world, I didn't go there to participate. I wanted to, or I wanted to learn. I wanted to go into the room. I wanted to learn. I wanted to make friends, and I wanted to keep those friends, because when you sign a record deal, you can get into a room pretty easily because you have a record deal, like with big songwriters, but it's getting back in the room. That's the hard part. You can get in the room once, but getting in the room twice, that's the challenge. So I kind of like, to your point, to your question, was like, music is the nucleus that has brought me all these different opportunities. So I always kind of hinge back on music.
Right.
I don't know if I would put it on my tombstone. Chuck Wicks, the musician. I would probably just put
Chuck Wicks date.
Yeah, I would just put the date. I wouldn't even put like who cares? I would put Google me.
Google me. Yeah. Well, so then you got in that room once, and then you took full advantage of it, because it's like you came out hot, Stealing Cinderella, top of the charts, very start of your career.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot of work that you put into that, had the background getting to that point. And so what you're saying, though, is kind of keeping that up, getting in that second time, and trying to keep that going, because that's got to be a lot of pressure after you come out that hot.
Being on RCA, that was the most that was the most nerve-wracking time of my life when I was a touring artist, because you always have to keep it going. You like, once you get to the top of the charts, then you're like, great. I remember when it went to the top, and then it was done, right? And I went to the next single, and then I was just like, I had this weird feeling. I was like, oh shit, I have to do this again. And if I don't do it again, then what? So it's like, it was very stressful for me personally. Like, I remember not sleeping. I was constantly just missing big moments because I was too stressed in the moment.
Right.
So I was missing these big moments that I was like, I was on these huge tours and doing arenas and touring. Did 75 shows with Brad Paisley, and I wish I would have taken it in a little bit more.
Right, because it goes by so quick,
so fast.
You're just kind of going with emotions. Then you look back, you're like, holy crap, I can't believe all that happened to me.
Yeah, and then like Dance with the Stars was another thing. I was like, I was on my third single. Like, I was still new. I was still like a new artist. It was so I was so green. I never done like some kind of TV thing that was that big. When I was on Dance with the Stars, people actually watched it.
Right,
like, there was like 20 million viewers a week.
Huge.
Now it's like, Disney Plus, and I don't know, it's like a million maybe. I don't know what it is, but it's just even that, it was so, like, I remember the Kardashians were over here, and Steve-O from Jackass was over there, and Lawrence Taylor, Sean Johnson, all these big names, and I'm still like small town Chuck from Smyrna, Delaware, that we were farmers. Like, so to be in that circle so quick, it just happened so quick. Yeah.
So fast.
Yeah.
Delaware. SamCat, have you ever been to Delaware?
Actually, no. That's I have about 6 states until I've reached all 50, and Delaware is one of them that I haven't been to.
Because you're on tour with Old Dominion right now.
Correct.
I feel like they're going to hit Philly.
Mm-hmm.
So Philly's like a 10-minute drive from the state of Delaware.
Right, but if I just cross the line and like do a jumping jack in it, does it count as being there?
100%.
Oh, okay.
Especially Delaware, because there's not a lot to say.
Okay.
If you do 2 jumping jacks, you've done 1 more jumping jack than everybody else in Delaware.
Good to know.
How far did you make it on Dance with the Stars?
Fifth place.
Fifth place. That's not bad. Top 5.
Top 5. Pretty good, guys. Pretty good. Thank you.
Who won?
Thank you over there. Sean Johnson. Sean Johnson. All
right.
Which ironically, Sean, she was like 15 when I met her. Now she's older, but she was such a sweetheart of a girl. But she's the only one that I like kept a friendship with. She's like still one of my best friends to this day, and she lives in Nashville now.
Yeah, I feel like she said that as well, is that you were kind of like supportive of her, and she obviously went in there at a super young age.
Oh, was she on this podcast?
She sat in that chair right there.
Wow.
Yeah, we kind of worked our way up: first place, second place, third place, fourth place,
okay,
and now 5th place.
Great. I feel blessed.
So after that, you're all over the place.
Okay.
Then what? You come back to Nashville, Tennessee, and it's the pressure of trying to make another album. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, I remember in particular, I was on, and this is the interesting thing about the music business is, I was on my 3rd single. I had 2 that went up the charts, And then so the third one was doing really well because I was on Dancing with the Stars at the time. It was a song called Man of the House. It was a song that was basically speaking when someone goes overseas, uh, like in the army or serving our country. It's hard to be a kid when you're the man of the house. So like if the point of the song was his dad was fighting a war overseas and he was like 12 years old and he had to be the man of the house. So it's like it took me a year to write that song. It's like a very well crafted song. Even Brad Paisley Brad Paisley wrote country radio a note about that song, handwritten note, went to all of country radio. It says, Chuck Wicks is out on tour with me. This song right here should be song of the year. Play it as much as you can.
Really?
And I was like, crap. And that was when Brad was like hot. Like he was at the top of his game. And we were going to go with another single, but because he wrote that letter, we went with that one. So here I am. I feel really good about that because like Brad had, stamped it, and country radio did play it. It was like 26 on the charts with a bullet going up. I'm on Dance with the Stars. I'm like, this is awesome. The minute I got kicked off Dance with the Stars, the next day, I get a call from my record label, and he goes, hey, Chuck. He goes, hey, I just want to give you some news. We're going to pull the single off of radio. I'm like, I thought he was joking. I'm like, why? He's like, well, it's just not doing what we want it to do. And I'm like, well, it looks like it's doing pretty well. It's 26. It's got a bullet. It's still going up. And he goes, yeah, it's just not, we want better sales. So we're just going to move on and go to the next record. What that really means is, hey, we got as much as we wanted to get from you being on TV and a song out on the radio at the same time. Now that you're off the show, we're going to pull that and focus on another artist.
Next up.
That's exactly what it means. And so, that was the start with RCA. Once they did that, I kind of knew like, oh, maybe I'm not as big as a priority to them as I thought I was. Because it's hard when you're on a huge label with that, like that. I think when I was on RCA, it was me, Chris Young, Martina McBride, Jake Owen. Remember when what was it called? The Tim McGraw movie with Gwyneth Paltrow.
Country Strong or
Country
something?
Strong.
Yeah.
So Country Strong came out, and Gwyneth Paltrow sang on the record for Country Strong. So of course, RCA picks up the rights to that record. They were pushing a Gwyneth Paltrow song at the same time. So
Gwyneth in, Chuck out.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we got to push this song because this movie's out. So there's a lot of like, inner politics within your own label that you have to fight.
Of course.
So once I got out of that first record, I made that second record, and we had a couple songs go to top 40, and then I ended up getting dropped from RCA. And so that was like a hard time for me. So, because I went so fast, like boom, up here to like, crap, no record deal. I'm not touring as much. Man, I ran into money problems. I was used to making X amount and living this lifestyle. And then I got stripped away quick. So, but then I was like, well, I still want to eat at that nice steakhouse that I like eating at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
And then your accountant goes, Chuck, you may want to
go to a turnip truck.
Yeah, no, turnip truck's too expensive too. You may want to go to like Walmart or something and start shopping there for your food. But yeah, it was an interesting time, but I learned a lot. So my career, I know we're talking career stuff, but my career has been quite the roller coaster.
Yeah. So going into it that it's a cutthroat business.
Yes.
But obviously you didn't know exactly what it was like until it happened to you.
I've never been the kind to give up.
Yeah.
I always find a way to survive. And I think that's to go back to what you kind of opened up with, is that, you and I are kind of cut from the same cloth. Like we like to do a lot of different things and all at once.
Right.
And I think it's what you have to do in life in general. You have to have 4, 5, 6 different ways to make a living or make an income or make an impact. It doesn't have to necessarily be money. You could just be making an impact on someone else's life or your own. And I think by doing that, you alleviate the stress of, oh my gosh, I need to have this one thing work. And if this one thing doesn't work, I'm fucked. Well, no, if this one thing doesn't work, it just wasn't meant to work. And you have the 4 other things that you can go focus on as well. So that's kind of the school that I've kind of learned to develop in my life.
And obviously grinded through. And then would Us Again be your next biggest hit after Stealing Cinderella?
Yeah. So time had surpassed. So I had reached that point where I was busy, not busy, trying to keep my career going as much as possible on the road with the success I had with RCA. And then it started dwindling because you can only live so long off of it. And I'm like, oh shit, I did have an oh shit moment. I was like, okay, do I need to go get like a normal job? do I need to go? Because I need to start making money. And it was at that time I got asked to jump on country radio as a morning show guy, like a morning show host. And that's when it turned back around for me. I was able to start making good money again. And life is easier when you're not stressed financially.
Right.
Just because you can breathe a little easier and be like, you don't make decisions out of desperation. You make decisions out of like, does this make sense for me or my direction? So when I got into radio talking, not singing, ironically, at the same time, I got offered another record deal. And I got faced with this decision. Chuck, do you want to do this radio? Like, can you leave radio? I'm like, well, no, because I like it, and I'm getting paid really well too. And I don't really want to go back into that. I started panicking because I was like, oh, I remember when I was on RCA and it was like I was panicking every day. Is this song going to go up the chart?
Just trauma.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know if I want to go into that space again mentally. And I said, why don't I just do both? So I did both. And I found out really quick, when you do a radio station or a radio show for Cumulus, was at the time, it was Cumulus Radio. Well, there's Cumulus, there's iHeart, and at the time it was, this isn't it, like CBS Radio, right? So there's like these 3 big radio people, conglomerates or whatever you want to call it. And they really dictate how much you're going to get played, because iHeart has like 250 radio stations. Cumulus has 125. Like they just kind of control the landscape of the business. So because I was working with Cumulus, Cumulus supported the song, right? I was like, oh, this is great. But iHeart wouldn't touch it. It was really interesting. And I remember, because it was a great song. It actually, I say that because the numbers proved that it was a great song. Not that I just.
And you're talking Us Again.
Us Again.
Yeah.
So, and this was in 2016. So Us Again, out of the gate, before it even reached top 40 on the radio, sold 100,000 units. Not streams. Like, I'm going to go on iTunes and buy that song.
I was one of them. I bought it. I remember that song. I remember going through a breakup, and I love that song.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
That's why you smile when I walk in the door. You're
That's
like,
right.
hey, it's Chuck. I love his song. But yeah, it was a cool song. I was really excited. I thought that song was going to like get me back on track as an artist. And it was really like a punch to the face when I was just like, oh, here we fucking go again. You know, the politics of the business is going to ruin a chance of actually just a good song making it. And a lot of artists face that.
So with the radio stations, then obviously you're a host of a show. You can't just be like, hey, listen to this new song by Chuck Wicks every 10 minutes. Do you even control the songs that are played, or you're just...
No, I don't. No. I wish I did.
Yeah, but that's a whole other beast to get the song on the radio, for them to be able to play it a certain amount of times during the day.
Oh yeah, usually they started in overnights, and then after overnights, they'll do like maybe some midday stuff, and then you don't even do morning drive until it's a hit, or you're Keith Urban. You know, you just go straight into morning drive. But it's just one of those things. The thing about this way, real quick, let's say you have 42 slots for country radio to be like, I'm putting that in my playlist, that, my playlist, right? There's 42 slots. But then you have 150 songs coming at you that you have to pick from. That's how hard, like, there's a lot of people that are just never going to get played.
And that comes down to, and I'm sure SamCat, you see this at all these events and gatherings of people in the industry, basically just people sucking each other's to get, for lack of better terms, like,
well, Shawn, I can honestly say I never did that. And that's why I don't have a music career. I'm kidding.
But right, I mean, it's all about who you know, because I feel like you have a guy like Stapleton, right,
Yeah.
who's out there, and wasn't he playing honky tonks before anybody picked him up on Broadway?
Oh,
Is that
he
a
was. I
rumor?
mean, he was in a really well-known band for a long time, and I mean, everyone knew Stapleton was a great singer, but he was kind of like did his own thing in his band, and then he stepped out. I'll never forget. I think when Stapleton somewhat got noticed on a mainstream level was when he was singing backgrounds on "Drink a Beer" for Luke Bryan on the award show. I think it was CMA Awards, maybe, and. You know, you have Luke Bryan, who's definitely has a sound, but then you have Stapleton behind him singing this real big note, and you're like,
who's that guy?
Who the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Who is that? And from that moment, I'm like, damn, that guy can sing. And you're like, oh, that's Chris Stapleton. And then from that point on, I feel like then he's appearing with Timberlake, and then he's, Justin Timberlake, and then he's got a record out, and then he's crushing. So.
Yeah. So then how much of it is it's talent versus management?
I can tell you Chris Stapleton's all talent.
For sure.
So, and I think Chris Stapleton was so talented and he stayed in it for so long that you couldn't deny him.
Right.
You couldn't. And he's the type of guy that whether you accepted him or not, he's just going to do music.
Exactly.
And I think that's when you win, is
Right.
when you do things for the right reason. You don't do things because you're trying to fit in that hole or that square or that circle. You do it because you love it, and people are either going to love you back or they're not. And you have to be good with either one of those.
Okay. Let me ask you this. You've been in music for a long time. If you
That impressed Sammy.
That was profound, Chuck.
Wow,
Proud
you
of
got
you.
a little head nod over there. It's nice. Sammy and I go,
I have never seen Chuck be the interviewee, so I feel like I'm just absorbing this.
The knowledge.
Yeah, I've never seen you like be so serious.
Oh shit.
I'm loving it, but I'm also just like, who is this guy?
Oh.
How's
Do you
it
want me
feel?
to be goofy? The goofy, like, whoa.
I mean, I love both sides. I just am impressed. I feel like I liked that little. These are my two favorite guys.
That's right.
Profound.
Look at
That's
me.
right.
You're our favorite
Hey.
girl.
Hey,
Hey.
right there. High five.
Right there.
Thanks, Curly Cat.
Give me a shoe.
You're
Give me a
welcome.
shoe.
Look at those.
Oh,
that.
look
Zoom in
at you
on
guys.
those guys.
That is a
don't
lot
make
of
your shoe
thigh.
look
Mine
bigger
looks
than mine.
way
Hold on.
bigger.
Get the heel up there. There we
lot
go.
of thigh.
A
Oh,
couple
shit.
sizes bigger.
It's still bigger. Fuck.
All right. So you're a judge on The Voice.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not, but I'm pretending.
You'd be a great
Okay.
one. You're pretending right now. There's a lady up there by the name of Taylor Swift.
Okay.
You know nothing about her. Your chair is turned around. She starts singing. Are you hitting that button for Taylor Swift? Be honest.
So you're saying just based off her voice,
100%.
am I turn
Not her
around?
look, not her writing skills, not her personality.
What song is she singing?
SamCat.
I don't know.
That one.
Okay, let me ask this. Let me ask this.
I'm not a Swiftie.
I have multiple. Because it counts. It matters. This matters. Is this Taylor Swift when she first came out, or Taylor Swift right now?
Right now.
Yes, I'm turning around.
Okay. So you don't think you would have turned it around when she came out as a country singer in Nashville, Tennessee?
Well, when she came out in Nashville, Tennessee, she was like 16.
Yeah.
So she would have sounded really young to me, and I would have been like, "Oh, I don't know." I mean, she sounds really young to me. She's always been a good singer, but I think now in her career, she's awesome, man. I mean, she commands a stadium. Yeah.
All right, your chair's turned around right now.
I like that pocket. It's a good pocket.
Are we gonna get sued for playing this song? Like, I don't know if this
Are we
is
allowed
legal.
to play this?
No.
Hold on, wait.
Here it is.
Can make the bad guys good for a weekend. So it's gonna be forever.
Boom. Turned around. Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Because I have a theory that I don't know if she would win The Voice.
So there was a girl on The Voice that did not get any chair turnarounds. And she had hit songs on country radio. Julie Roberts was on The Voice. Julie Roberts had that song, I sure hate to break down here. No, in my rearview mirror, something like that. It was a number one song. And I remember seeing her. Is it Julie or Julia? No, Julie Roberts.
Is,
right there. Look. So she was on, and Julie Roberts is a perfect example.
She should probably change her name. A little confusing.
Julia or Julie? Julia Gulia?
Julia Gulia.
She's a perfect, because she's a pretty girl, right? So if you see her and she sings pretty good, right? You'd be like, oh, she's a star. But she's one of those things where just based on her voice, for some reason, those judges didn't turn around. I felt horrible for her. I remember Blake Shelton turned around. He's like, I know you. And I knew he had to feel like a dick.
Rough.
But yeah.
All right. Well, one day you'll be on The Voice as a judge. I've got faith.
Maybe I should just go into voice as a singer.
You should. Yeah, let's do that.
You know?
I think you'd get, they'd turn around.
But don't do country. Do like some kind of like just rap. No, pop. I do pop.
Yeah.
I do
it's never
pop,
too late to
R&B.
change the direction of your career. So when I met you, you were training for a triathlon.
That's right.
And so was I. And you just gone out of a serious car accident.
Yeah. You did a full one for the record.
Yeah. I did an Iron Man. You did an Iron Guy.
Okay. I did a half Iron Man.
Half. But that was after a really bad car accident.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So you met me. I was doing my third one then. So I did 2 halves before I met you.
Okay.
Then I got in a car wreck.
After you've already done 2.
2, yeah.
And so it was a whole documentary.
Yeah.
Showing your comeback from that. Yeah.
I was picked to be on this show called Quest for Kona. And it was on CBS Sports. Yeah. And it was interesting to me because Quest for Kona is, they label it, we pick the top 10 athletes from around the world to follow them on their journey to become the next Ironman. And they picked me. I'm like, time out. When you say top 10 athletes, like in general, like compared to other top athletes, or just like
top 10 from Delaware? Yeah,
like from Smyrna, Delaware,
Smyrna.
Maybe. And they picked me because of the story, because I had a rollover accident. I was sleeping in the back of a Suburban, no other cars involved. I was not wearing my seatbelt, and we hydroplaned it. Rain, dumped rain, and then stopped. So the guy driving was just like, oh, stop raining. Meanwhile, there's puddles of water everywhere. Hits a puddle. We go sideways. I wake up. We're going sideways in the car. And I'm like, and when that happens, there's no one screaming.
Yeah, of course.
You're silent.
Yeah. Slow
and you're
motion.
just waiting for the next thing to happen. So you're just kind of like, oh shit. In your mind, you're screaming. But at the moment, I remember it being silent and just hearing the tires. And then so we're going sideways. We hit the median. As soon as we hit that median, we hit like mud, and it made the car start flipping. And we flipped 2 or 3 times probably. And I just remember going boom, 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 boom. Everyone else had their seatbelt on. And I didn't get knocked out, but I broke my C2 vertebrae and I broke my skull. And I remember at the time, your adrenaline's just rocking. So, and I remember getting out of the Suburban and just kind of like looking around. And then I remember just seeing, like, it was very, very weird because I had a box of, I was going down to do the Mardi Gras parade, like to be in it and wave and all that stuff. And I remember I brought a box of CDs for some reason. I don't know if it was to give away or sign or whatever, but it was raining so much. There was, in the median, it was like a little river. And I remember standing there and watching my CDs float down the river. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And then at that moment, I remember, okay, I was like, oh, something's weird. My
Adrenaline
neck,
calms down.
the adrenaline was coming down, and my neck was getting super tight. And I remember looking at the other guy that was in the car with me, and it's like, man, my neck is tight. Like, and he's like, I was like, this feels weird. Like something's wrong. And I just sat down, and it just kept getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and then tighter in my shoulders. I'm like, okay, something's really wrong. So I was like, I'm not moving. I told the paramedics when they got there, they put me in the what do they call it? The backboard.
Stretcher.
Yeah, the back. They put me in that hard ass backboard. It's super uncomfortable. It starts raining again. So now I'm on the backboard, and when you're on a backboard, if you've never been on a backboard, once you're locked in and your neck's locked in, you are looking straight up, and that's it. You can't look from side to side. You can't look down, up. You're looking straight to the sky. So here I am. It's pouring down rain. I'm like, can we get in the ambulance for God's sakes? Fucking roof. I just want a roof. So we give me an ambulance, and then I started getting scared as an emotional thing. And then when you get into the when they take you into the hospital, it's like the movies, man. You see the lights going like light straight into X-rays. And when they said, "Yep, you got a broken C2 vertebrae, all this broken skull," and I just lost it. I just started crying. I'm like, because then they're asking you, can you move your fingers? Can you move your toes? Move your knee? All right, extend your leg. They're like, check. And I'm like, at this moment, I'm like, oh, they're checking to see if I'm paralyzed.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm like, fuck.
So scary.
So then I'm like, is it moving? Like,
are my toes moving?
Because they say like, if you're paralyzed, you're like, oh no, I'm moving my foot. And you're like, no, you're not.
Yeah,
so,
like phantom.
Yeah.
Like phantom movements.
And I can't look down. I'm like, is my foot moving? They're like, yeah, it's moving. So I was like, okay, that's good. So long story short, the biggest part from that was like, I remember that they had all these different doctors come in, and the C2 vertebrae was a big deal because the C2 vertebrae holds all the good stuff, right? All the stuff that tells you how to breathe, move, it goes through your C2 vertebrae. So when I broke it, if this is your vertebrae like this, I broke it, right? And it stayed in place. If I would have, and so you could see the crack in it. If I would have broke it and it would have displaced like this, I would have died. So I broke. That's why they say if you ever have a neck injury, don't move. Because you could have
something just like that.
If you shift one, there was a guy that was in a motorcycle accident, and he broke his C2 vertebrae. And at the time, he's like, oh, something's wrong. And he was fine. He was walking around. He had his helmet on. It was great. He took his helmet off, displaced it, and he died. That's why, like, you just
super cautious.
Yeah, you just don't know.
Yeah.
But that because of that journey, man, when I got out of that neck brace, I was in that neck brace for like 3 months. Couldn't move. It sucked. Pain pills were good. But
still haven't kicked those, but those are good.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Where am I? But yeah, I got out of it. And the weirdest thing to me was like, when I got out of it, I could barely do like a push-up. I had lost so much strength from not being able to move, not being able to work out, the atrophy or whatever you want to call it.
And now you can do about 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah. Like super, like maybe even 10 girl push-ups.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to put my knees down. No offense, Sammy.
Yeah, that's scary. I was in a similar experience when I'd graduated college and I stayed there an extra semester because I did like the red shirt thing for soccer. I lived in a house with my buddies. And
you were a soccer player?
Yeah.
That's why he's got good legs.
Yeah, thanks.
It's nice.
Showing the legs today for everybody at home if you're not watching.
Is that YouTube. A natural tan, by the way?
100% natural.
Really?
Yeah. Come on.
Interesting.
You think I go fake tanning?
Yes. I think you would actually. 100%.
This is real.
Real quick, did you ever fake tan when you were on the Bachelor? Were you on the Bachelor or Bachelorette?
Bachelorette.
Did you ever like fake tan when you were on that show?
No.
No? Just natural? You just laid out by the pool with your shirt off. You're like, oh, I hope she walks out.
Yeah, hopefully she walks.
Check me out.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm one of the built guys on the show.
Yeah.
You were one of the leaner, like built guys on the show, right? Or do they just
A lot of guys were pretty ripped on that show. I remember going in the limo to the mansion, and I was the shortest guy, and I'm like 6'3". And I was the
Really?
shortest one in the limo. So, SamCat, you should head to the mansion. Get one of those
I
tall
feel like
guys.
SamCat should be on The Bachelor.
Mm,
100.
I'm good. Thank you though. I feel like why go on The Bachelor when I could just date a guy that's also dating 25 women right here in Nashville? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
The difference is there's just not cameras around.
Well, yeah, why go to The Bachelor when you can go to the Tin Roof?
Yeah, you know?
Yeah.
I travel enough. I'm good.
I love that. I miss SamCat. No, well, so go back to your story. I
Yeah.
cut you off because I
So I got in a really bad car accident too. I left my house at this was in Pearl Street in Keene, New Hampshire, and I was going up to my winter job as a valet guy at a ski resort. It was awesome. And I'm driving down the road, one of those roads where it's like head on, no median, one lane here, one lane there, and probably going like 70 miles an hour. And some guy comes across my lane. I see him coming. I hit the gas. He hits me right on my driver's door, hits my car off the road, goes into a snowbank, sends the Jeep airborne, and then flips like 5 or 6 times. I had my seatbelt on, but I remember everything. Like you said, it's kind of like slow motion. You're not saying anything, and it's just flipping and flipping and flipping. And I thought I was dreaming. And then it flipped all the way back to where the tires are honest tires. You know, the tires were off the car. It was silent, eerily silent. And I was just like, I started touching myself like, oh my God, I'm alive. I crawled out the window, and then apparently somebody says I threw a rock at the kid who was driving. Don't remember that.
You showed him.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. I called my girlfriend at the time who was in my bed. I just left the house, and I was like, come quick, got in a bad accident. And then like when she got there with my roommate, and then I just collapsed on the ground, like, cause all the adrenaline calmed down. I remember being in an ambulance. They cut off my clothes, started hooking me up to everything.
That is it. That is a weird thing, is that they cut your clothes off of you, which you don't think about unless you're in that field
Yeah.
and you work in a hospital. You're like, yeah, of course we cut, because they don't want to move you.
Yeah.
They don't want to move any of your limbs. So they just cut everything off.
And just sticking everything in. I'm like, just when you said it's like an emotional time, I'm like, am I going to die? Am I going to die? Like freaking out. And I go to ICU. I was in there for a couple of weeks, then in the hospital for months. Like ruptured my spleen, broke my ribs, like all internal stuff, but lost a bunch of weight too, lost muscle. Could still do more push-ups than you, but.
So let me ask you this. Were you in really good shape when you got in that accident? Okay.
Yeah. And that's what they said too. Cops came back to my hospital bed and they're like, we just want to let you know how lucky you are. We've never seen anybody survive that type of accident. So you should really like be pretty grateful for this. And a lot of nurses were like, yeah, you're lucky you're a younger, fit guy. And the weird thing about that is like, I'm not a real spiritual guy, or I don't know what I believe in, but when I left the house that morning, I never wore my seatbelt. I mean, never. And I was driving down my road and I stopped. I put my foot on the brake and was like, I'm gonna wear my seatbelt today. I put my seatbelt on, and within about 2 to 3 minutes after that is when that accident happened.
Wow.
That's pretty crazy.
So obviously you should probably maybe believe in God and Jesus at this point.
Yeah. Crazy.
Hey,
But hey,
that's awesome.
yeah. So then I've always lived my life, because me and my buddies always say, because my best friend, he was in Iraq. He went to a couple wars over there, some serious close calls. I went through that, and we're like, hey, we're living on bonus time now. So we've always said bonus time.
That's
So
what
make the most of it.
I agree. That's awesome. Hey, listen.
Hey.
That's,
High five.
No, hey, do a high five.
That's
It's
right.
so weird. No, it's got to be. We're having a
1,
weird
2, 3.
There we go. We just did the. Hold on. We just did this. Watch. Do it again. Watch. 1, 2.
And the cross.
And the cross.
Well, we did a tap before we crossed.
Tap, cross, tap, tap, cross.
That's
You're going to have to watch this one on YouTube if you're driving in your car right now. Sorry.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So we're here. We're alive. I did an Ironman. You did an Iron Guy. We trained together a few times.
Yeah. Oh shit. We did. We trained together out of my house. So we went for a run. And you guys know Jordan, right? You've talked about Jordan at all?
SamCat obviously knows Jordan. Alex,
I don't think
probably
we've
not.
really brought him up on the show, though.
No, yeah.
All right, so we have a friend. Okay, you're really good friends with him.
Yeah.
His name is Jordan, and he is an elite.
He's like
Iron Man.
He could be one of the top 10 guys that
Yes.
they put on that show.
Yes, he should have been on Quest
He
for Kona.
actually qualified for Kona
in real life.
in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not fake believe TV
Yeah.
life like me.
Yeah.
Come on, Chuck. All right, just push him through so we can have a good TV show. So he is super fast. And we're like, hey, let's go run. I think we ran like 14 miles that day.
No, it was 18.
18
It was
miles.
16 to 18. I think we did 16 and he did 18.
So we start off together down my driveway. My driveway is pretty long. It's a quarter of a mile. So it's a nice little warm up pace. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun. The three of us. Dude, we get out of our driveway.
It's Sunday afternoon and it is like 100 fucking degrees.
It's hot, very hot in the middle of the summer. And we get out and then Jordan's like, hey guys, I really need to work on my pace. We're like, yeah, go for it, dude. So he takes off and he gets further and further and further. And I'm like, is he going all out or what?
To show you how fast he is, when I did a marathon, he bet me that he could beat me by 30 minutes. He was doing one the same weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I got a 3:30. He got a 2:58.
Which is
So
ridiculous.
2:58 pace on a marathon. That's pretty damn fast. But
So
anyways,
super fast guy. So us being competitive, we tried to keep up with him for a little bit.
we did
like-
probably for like the first.
Half mile.
And I think he was
Driveway?
he was being nice too. He was being nice, like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm gonna make these guys feel good
Yeah, we were
because he's
still
the
trying
nicest guy in the world.
We're trying to keep him in the conversation. We're like, Jordan, we're talking about this. And he looked back, he's like, cool. And then eventually we just couldn't see him. So then we peaked way early on that run. Like we peaked on mile 7 and we had 10 more to go.
Well, because when you get out of Chuck's long ass driveway, he goes, all right, now up on the right here, there's a yard and they have dogs, and the dogs are probably going to chase you.
Yes.
So you get down the street and you got these mean dogs, and you have to kind of
And we-
speed up a little bit because they
Yeah.
start running after you.
Yeah, it's a good pace setter. It's just, it's just fun. I always know that mile is going to be faster than the previous.
Yeah.
So we get back and we're like just dying. And I had already gone through all the water. We brought one little thing of water. And then we find ourselves like, man, we've got 8 more miles to go and we have 0 water, nothing. I felt like we were going to die and we were in the middle of the desert,
The middle of nowhere.
the Sahara, Columbia, Tennessee. And
The black pavement,
We got-
sun, no trees.
dude, we got so desperate. I said, there's a guy in his yard. There's a guy right there. Hey, look, he's got a hose. We stopped and we talked to this guy in his yard and we're like, we must have looked like idiots. We're like, do you have any water? It was like we had jumped out of an airplane and we were from a different planet. And we're like, do you have any water? We had to tell him. We were just like, listen, we ran a little too far and we ran out of water. And he's like, man, I don't have any water. He's like, but I got a hose. And we're like, we'll take it.
That was the second house because we stopped at one house prior to that as an older lady. She was out by her garage and she said, no, I don't have anything. So we're like, all right, we'll keep going. And then we see this guy and Chuck walks up to him. He's like, hey,
Well, I knew he
I
was going to be nice because it said he was a retired vet.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, this guy's a veteran. He's going to help us.
Yeah.
And he did.
You're like, you want tickets to my show coming up? That's
I
what you
did.
told him.
Got a new show called Shiners if you ever want to come to it. We have water there as well.
And we finally make it back to the house after 16 miles.
And Jordan was in the pool, like laid out, had a beer. He's like, guys, how's it going? I got to get going. Dinner.
Yeah. And that was our training for
That's the last time we trained together.
trained together.
So it was fun.
Yeah.
We need to do another one. Probably.
We should do another one.
Yeah, we can do another one next year. 2 years.
Yeah, get you in shape for the Shiners because that's 3 nights a week, right?
Yeah, Shiners that's been SamCat knows. Sammy knows. Sammy has been through that journey because Sammy and I used to do a podcast together. It's like on pause right now, but Love Country Talk to Chuck, and it was a lot of fun. She saw every from taking over the Woolworth building. So my wife and I took over this old building called the Woolworth off 5th and Broadway, downtown Nashville. It was a restaurant. We turned it into a theater called the Woolworth Theater. And it's turned into this cool, like, very intimate setting. We do a lot of private corporate events there, outside of doing shows, and a lot of one-off different shows. But I wrote this show called Shiners. It's about a bunch of moonshiners. It's a very eclectic show. It's a Cirque meets adult comedy show. We fly people. We have the best Cirque talent from all around the world. I teamed up with a group called Nappy Tabs. So Nappy Tabs is Napoleon and Tabitha, a married couple. And they're very well known, like in dance world. They're very well known in Cirque world and all that stuff.
Cirque world? Is that what you call it?
Cirque world, yeah.
Okay.
And because they do a lot of the Cirque shows out in Vegas. And they're J-Lo's choreography team. They do a lot of Grammys. They do all the Disney specials on ABC. They do those. And
they're legit.
Yeah, they're just legit. So I teamed up with them. And because I teamed up with them, when I did a casting to do this show out in Vegas, because their name was attached, we got a lot of great talent to come out. And at the time, it was right out of COVID, and Cirque du Soleil kind of shut their doors. So all these Cirque du Soleil talents were out of a job. So we had a great turnout for our casting. They're like, oh, a Cirque style show that's going to be in Nashville. They checked it out. And we ended up putting together this amazing cast of talent, contortionists. We fly people, strong guys that balance off each other. They're people love them. And then we have Laura Osnes in the show, like a 2-time Tony Award nominee. She was the original Cinderella on Broadway. She sings, plays my sister in it. I'm in it. My name's Mason Shiner. But it's fun, man. No one knows what to expect, but at the end of it, they're like, I don't know what I just saw, but it was fucking awesome.
It's awesome. And what I love about it is that it's so different than any experience you can get here in Nashville.
Yes.
You have all the bars you can go to, bachelorette parties, and go to some strip clubs, whatever, concerts, but this is like the one of its kind.
It's never been done before. And it's a true Vegas style residency show. So it's every Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
And it's intimate feeling because it's not a huge theater.
There's not a bad seat in the house.
Yeah.
And to see this style of talent, like the Cirque talent, to see it this close is somewhat unheard of. Like usually when you go see a Cirque show, it's in a huge arena and people are flying way up in the air and you're very far away from them. And you get that wow factor because it's so big, right? They're flying way up in the air. Or you see an amazing talent, but they're super far away. Here at the Woolworth Theater, shinersnashville.com for tickets. You're super close.
Yeah.
And there's a storyline to it. It's a loose storyline. It's like, don't go there except, you're not watching Hamilton. It's more about, I
don't know if anybody gets a Hamilton vibe from you.
It's not a Hamilton vibe. It's not that. Like, it's go there to have fun, party, see a crazy group of moonshiner family. And, the message at the end is, as you can see, we have an eclectic, lovable family. And we believe no matter who you are or what you do, you deserve to shine. And
perfect. And you wrote all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You came up with it.
I had a team. I teamed up with Nappy Tabs but yeah, for the most part, wrote it and got the talent together and here we are. It's been fun. Now that's been stressful. It's been 5 years in the making. So to see it come together, and we've been open for about 8 months.
It's very, very well done. Everybody should check it out. Me and SamCat always get a good laugh out of it because when you were developing this and talking about it, and you're saying you're putting together the show, and then one day you're like, I feel like we need to find a host and somebody to kind of be the main character, and you're like, I guess I'm gonna do it. The next thing you know, we see every poster and billboard in town is Chuck with his hand out, the star of the show. Deservingly so.
I did. It's fun. It is so much fun. I really enjoy doing it. It's funny. A lot of people are like, man, it's cool to pay. Like you get paid to do that. I'm like, no, I don't pay myself anything.
Yeah.
So my wife's, because I'm owner, like I own the company and the show and everything. But my wife is very anxious for me to find a replacement just because I'm gone every Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
Like I've kind of given up my weekends to go do this because the goal is to get it on autopilot where we're selling out every single night. And then I won't do it as much. I'll have somebody that comes in. Like tonight, I have somebody filling in for me.
You'll do like once a weekend, maybe.
Yeah. Or like, when it's, peak season or something, there's a bunch of people in town. I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to go do it for a few weeks. Or it's a big show because I got friends and family in town. I'll do the show.
Right.
So I'm definitely committed through the end of this year. So shinersnashville.com if you want to come see it.
And I feel like it kind of takes everything you're good at and puts it all together. You host, you sing, you dance. You're like a triple threat times 2.
It is very out there.
Now,
yes.
If you had an actor who you wanted to replace you, who do you think would be your best replacement? Any actor in the world.
Oh, Ryan Reynolds.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of spot on.
Yeah. All day long. Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. You obviously got the wife to support you. And you guys have been married for how long now?
4 years.
4 years?
Yeah.
And you got little Tucker, who's probably the cutest kid that I think I've ever seen.
Tucker's the man.
Yeah. How old is he?
2.5.
And I hear 2 is like, well, I feel like 2 is the best stage because they're kind of starting to walk around. They're talking a little bit.
Do you have a lot of experience around 2-year-olds?
No.
You just like watch on TV. Oh, 2.
Yeah, 2.
That kid seems really fucking cool.
Yeah, piece of cake. 2 years old. They can go to the bathroom themselves, right?
Right in their diaper. Yeah. I know it. So my son Tucker, I always know when he's shitting because he goes in the corner and backs up against it. And then he just makes that face like this.
Backs up against the wall? And done.
And then he looks around like, oh.
Tucker's also a December baby.
What date?
December 4th.
Ooh, yeah. We got December 12th.
Mm.
December babies.
Don't go early. I told you over the phone.
We said, yeah.
I go December 4th is Tucker's day. Don't you fuck with that day.
I'm thinking December 6th is going to be the day.
That'll be a good day.
Yeah. We can do a big combined birthday party.
Are you excited to be a daddy?
I am. Very excited.
Are you nervous to be a daddy?
Not yet. Not nervous yet. I get a little nervous with everything that I have going on in my life. Like there's some times I'm sitting at home being like, oh man, this is going to be a lot because I already feel like I don't have time for anything. But obviously that becomes the number one priority. But it's all about managing the time. And I feel like that's just going to obviously take precedent over anything else. And nothing else will matter as much. So I'm very excited. Yeah.
You should be.
Yeah.
Babies are miracles.
Yeah. And I've always honestly looked at you as like, hey, this guy's old as shit and he just had a kid and he's good. Like you probably had your kid the same age as I'm going to have my kid.
How old were you when Tucker was born, Chuck?
What's behind this curtain? I was 41.
Yeah. All right. So I'll be 37. But you got married around 37, 38.
I got married when I was 40.
Okay. So anyways.
Fun wedding.
Yeah.
It was fun.
It was a great wedding.
Were you there?
Oh, no, I was invited. I couldn't make it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it.
I was checking. I forgot.
Yeah.
I just remember all my best friends were there.
Yeah. I remember SamCat and Bri. I remember getting a lot of videos.
Man.
Yeah.
Dude, SamCat. Oh my God.
Hey, you're calling her SamCat.
Sorry, Sammy was roommates with Brian, which
I was.
in itself was looking back is like hilarious.
It was quite the adventure weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I still love him. We made it through. We made it.
Yeah,
It was touch and go there for a moment, but
well, he would have dance parties at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Literally, that's when gonna do the 2-step and cab up. That
Brian's
song.
a sucker for any song that's got a dance to
Yes.
it.
Well, let me tell you, when he's had 46 margaritas at Chuck's open bar, and then we get back to our hotel room, and he's blasting that song, doing the dance moves at all hours of the morning. Yeah, it was rough, but we made it. We're still friends, and we joke about it. So all good. Still a lot of love there.
And you met your wife, Cassie, at Honky Tonk?
I met her at Whiskey Row.
That's right.
I mean, that was our first conversation.
Yeah.
We've had some history before that. That was very short-lived.
Okay.
She used to be married. So I remember I used to see her all the time at Jason Aldean's her brother. So I used to see her all the time. I know you guys know that, but I was more for the listeners.
Yeah.
So I would see her at all these number one parties. Like, I'm like, why is this really hot girl with beautiful hair because she has very like you can't miss her hair. It's like very curly. It's like
Yeah, it's
Sammy's
like
right now,
Sam's.
like curly
cat.
curly. Okay, curly cat.
That pains Chuck to
Jesus.
say.
Oh my god. So you just couldn't miss her when she walked into the room. And I always remember. I mean, I saw her in Boston when Aldean played Fenway Park because I was out there for the radio show that I did. I was like, there's that girl. And then I would see her at several number one parties in Nashville. Then I would see her at the ACMs. And I'm like, who is this girl? And one time in particular, I finally got the nerve to be like, hey, I'm Chuck. She goes, no. Like this. She goes, no. And then walks away. And I'm like, and I was talking to this other guy and I'm go, what the fuck's wrong with that girl? She's like, oh, that's Jason's sister. I think she's in a fight with her husband at the time or something. So she was like, it was a weird time.
Some stuff.
Yeah. So she was like coming over to tell him something real quick and just didn't have, she looked at me and she knew that I was like trying to be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
And she was like, no.
Yeah, not now. But you
So-
finally got in there.
She, Jesus.
Has she retold the story now that okay, whoa, English. I just had a stroke. Has she retold you the story now that you guys are like together? I'm sure she has, but
she told me like about when she said no.
Yes,
She's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh no, that was not a good time for me. She's like, I knew when you were looking at me, like it was like you wanted to say what's up. And I was like, I just did not have time for it. I'm like, no, I get it. And so
But she leads with, oh, I thought you were really hot and I was having trouble with my husband. I was like, I do not need this trouble. So that's why she was like, oh, I put my hand. I was like, no.
Trouble.
All right.
Yeah.
The
trouble, like probably like trouble,
She's
like
like, man,
if her
that guy's-
husband sees her
Right.
talking to me.
It was
Right.
too much of a temptation for her.
Yeah.
She didn't even want to.
It was Temptation Island before Temptation Island was a thing.
That's right.
That was dumb. Don't ever say that again, Chuck. Don't ever say that again.
Hey, you know what? She gave in and it worked out well.
She did.
It worked out.
Well, I ended up seeing her. So I think Jason won Entertainer of the Year, ACMs. So I ended up going. Our first kind of meeting was I went to the after party at House of Blues just to say congrats to Jason. And I went by myself. And I went up there still in the red carpet duds and stuff like that. So I was feeling pretty good, And I see her and I was like, oh, there's that girl again. I was like, I wonder if she's going to be rude. And she comes up and this time Brittany Aldean was going like this. She's like nudging. She's like, look, this guy right there. And I'm like, and I picked up on it. I'm like, oh, something's different. So I was like, something's different. It's like, is she not married now? Because then, so I said hello. She was nice, kind, unlike the time before. And I found her on Instagram. So because I went to Brittany's thing, found her. It's like, oh, her name's Cassie. Click on it. I see that she's got
no
kids.
pictures of a husband.
Well, no, there's pictures of him. But not lately.
Yeah, you're
right?
like, okay, October, September.
It's like, wow, it's drifting away less and less. And I was like, huh. And now she's starting to go out with a bunch of girls. And so then I clicked on it. It's like, all right, I'm going to put the feelers out. So the key is, if you want to put the feelers out there, the key to getting a woman's attention to me, if you're going to do it via Instagram, do it where everyone can see it. Don't slide into the DMs.
Oh.
Okay. Because if you do it where everyone can see it, you are then telling that person and everyone else who sees it
You don't care.
that you don't care that someone else sees it and that you're not trying to hide something from someone else.
Oh.
Okay. So you do it out in the open. She was playing top golf in high heels, looked super hot. I go, man,
Check out my driver.
super talented. I'm like, that's a nice shaft you have in your hands there. That's what I should have said. That's a nice. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. Anyway, so
What was
I
the
knew.
line?
No, I'm not going to say it. So I said, no, I don't want to say what I wanted to say. What I did say was like, man, it's super talented to do that in high heels. So she wrote me back.
LOL. Period.
LOL, Bob. That's when I was like, all right, she's not married.
Now you.
Then I
in.
slid into the DMs.
Yeah.
So we went back and forth. We were going to meet up. Long story short, we had not met up. And she had written me a DM. She goes, hey, I'm going downtown for a little day drinking if you want to meet up. I did not open it up yet. You can tell if you open it or not.
Yeah.
I didn't open it up yet. I didn't know she had written me that yet. She walks in. I was at Whiskey Row already with some friends. She walks in. I see her. I'm like, what are you doing here? She's like, oh, I thought you didn't get my DM. I'm like, no. I'm like, what DM? She's like, open up. It says, hey, I'm going down if you want to meet. And so I had already, without even knowing she was going down there, so it was fate.
That is fate.
Again, another reason to believe.
So Cassie's brothers, Jason Aldean.
That's right.
A lot of sensitive topics today in the world. And I just honestly listened to the song this morning and I'm like, I am having a tough time understanding the outrage for it.
Yeah, I think people are trying too hard. They're trying too hard to make something into something. They're trying to make this into something that's not. I know every single one of the writers on that song. I know Jason obviously very well.
Yeah.
I know the person that shot that video. And they're all wonderful people. And they're just good, and they're good-hearted people. To turn this into to try to say that this song is racist is ridiculous. We live in such a divisive world right now, and it's just like it's either you're all the way over here or you're all the way over there. And it shouldn't be like that. I mean, people can have their opinions all day long about and think what they want to think. But to try to knock someone else down because they don't think the way you think is ridiculous.
Because when I heard the song, I'm like, this really just sounds like a fuck around and find out type of message. And then if people are saying that it's racist, then they are just assuming that only people of color would be doing those things that he is talking about in the song.
Right. Yeah, essentially, if you're not racist, you don't think about that stuff. But the people that are thinking about this stuff, why are you having racist thoughts? Because maybe you're racist. I don't think that way. So,
right.
I mean, me personally, I don't think that way. I don't try to look at something and be like, is that racist? Is this curtain racist? Is that chair racist? I just don't think that way. Jason made a statement. I think the best thing that he did was that he made a clear statement about what he thought the song was about and what it meant to him. And that's exactly what it is. And then he leaves it alone because there's no, if you try to fight everybody that doesn't think the way you think and you just want to try to be like, oh, that's what you think this means. Well, no, that's not what it means. This is what it means. Like you're never going to stop. I grew up in a small town, a very small town. And all that song is saying is that we're going to stick up for ourselves.
Right.
And we're going to stick up for our neighbor, no matter what color they are,
Exactly.
He doesn't, there, if you go I actually on the way here heard the song and on the radio and I was like, all right, I'm going to re-listen to this and I'm going to re-listen to it with different ears and wait for it. And there's nothing racist about that song.
Yeah. I was at the gym earlier and my business partner, she's Mexican and I was talking to her about it and she's like, I want to hear it. And I played it to her and she's like, I don't understand how anybody's thinking this is racist.
I say they. I'm just the people that are trying to knock this song. I think they just already don't like him, or don't like that he's around Trump, or don't like that he's a Republican or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? They just don't like that. So anything they can jab at, they're going to try to find something.
Which is hilarious because now it's like the #1 song in the world because of you guys trying to take him down and bringing attention to it. And everybody's streaming it and listening to it. And it's helping him out. And so they want to try and take him down. I'm like, you're not doing it.
Yeah. I mean, and there's a lot of songs that no one's ever paid attention to that in different genres that are like horrible.
Yeah.
And they literally talk about killing people with a gun.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
but
we're just talking about sticking up for ourselves if you try to kill us, or if you rob us, or if you spit in a cop's face, or you do all these things that are actually criminal things. We're like, hey, if you're a criminal and you come, this is the way I would challenge people to think about it this way. And I think it's a very, very, very small margin for the people. I think you got about, if there's 100 people over here that think it's not racist, there's about 4 people over here that think it is, and they're just yelling really loud.
Right.
Right. The majority is over here.
Yeah.
There's about 4 or 5 people over here that just want to yell as loud as they can. And that's usually the way it works. But pretend you're in your small town. Pretend you're in your big city. Pretend you're anywhere. And someone tries to rob your grandmother's store. She's had this store for 60 years. And they're going to come in there and they're going to rob her and they're going to push her and they're going to beat her down. They're going to burn it down. They're going to do all these things. You don't want to stick up for that?
Exactly.
You don't want to be like, hey, you don't want to say to somebody, don't mess with my grandmother. Don't mess with her store. If you come mess with us, you're going to have a fight because I'm going to stick up for myself. That's all it's saying.
Do you think if that song was released 4 or 5 years ago, there would be this conversation on it, or it would just be another Jason Aldean hit?
I think the song was released like 3 months ago and no one knew about it because they didn't care. They started caring when they saw the video and they're like, how can I poke a hole in this video?
Right.
And they didn't like some of the footage in the video. Well, the footage is footage. I mean, he's giving examples of what it looks like to spit in a cop's face, or what it looks like to burn a city down, or what it looks like to commit a crime.
Yeah.
What they were showing was they were showing crimes being committed. And that song states, don't come into my town, my small town, and try to burn it down or commit a crime against people that I love, because I'm going to stand my ground and stick up for myself. That's the way I was raised. I think that's the way the majority of people were raised, unless you're a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so I guess
yeah.
Are you saying it's like, I rather have, there are cities and towns, and it's mainly cities. There are cities that you can go and just take whatever you want off the shelf and then walk right out because no one wants to stop it. I don't want to live in that type of city.
Exactly. But as soon as somebody sticks up for that and says something, then they try to attack them.
Yeah, it literally is common sense. Like this song it doesn't make sense what they're trying to make this song to be. Like they're trying way too hard. There's a lot of other songs. If they want to pick a song, if they want to take the music route and pick a song to go be like, ooh, this is bad because it promotes this
million more
and promotes violence and all that stuff. Okay, well, great. I have about 35 other songs that you could probably poke a really big hole in.
Yeah, that we're probably going to play in the gym in our next class. Like
that Sean Booth works out to.
Yeah. It's wild to watch. I mean,
I'll say this about Jason and Brittany and my wife Cassie and our family, is that we have strong core values and we believe in family and faith, and we believe in being a good person. And even politically, if you want to start doing like, well, politically, you're allowed to have your beliefs. Everyone is. And we feel if you think differently than us or what we believe in and stand in, that's fine. We're not going after you and attacking you. It's okay to be different.
Right.
It's not okay to fuck with our kids.
Absolutely.
It's okay to be different. It's okay to be liberal. It's okay to be Republican. It's okay to be independent. It's okay to not believe in something until you want to believe in it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to be on your own timetable. But when you start forcing your timetable or your beliefs on other people that don't feel that way, that's where it's like, well, you're forcing something on me that I don't like. So I'm going to stand up for myself. And that goes to so many different levels. Mm-hmm. I mean, we could have a very long podcast just on this topic.
Right. Yeah. Maybe we need to do that. Have you back in, talk some more about it. It's a very, very strong issue. But yeah, like you said, you're just good people who have your beliefs and stand up for them. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody should be able to do that.
And every scenario is different. Like, there's going to be people that maybe watch this and be like, oh yeah, but what about this? Okay, great. Let's talk about this then. If you want to talk about this, let's talk about this. And I'll tell you why I feel this way.
Right.
Just because I feel this way about that doesn't mean I feel the same way about that.
Yeah.
There's always different scenarios. Like just because you're, I think the problem is that if people associate the divide like this, if they go, if you're a liberal, then you're far left.
Mm-hmm.
If you're right wing, then you're far right. No, guys,
exactly.
You can be right down the middle of the road. I mean, just because you're right doesn't mean you're far right.
Yeah.
I mean, just because you're left doesn't mean you're far left.
Yeah.
I think people are missing a lot of opportunities to have really great friendships and really great memories with people that think differently than they do.
Amen. Yeah. And people are allowed to have their opinions, and that's completely fine. Be who you are. People might not like it. Might not like my sweatshirt. I like it. I do think he's the greatest country artist of all time. Okay. I think he's better than Garth Brooks.
Wow, good.
Because I think a lot of people, we got to get going here, but I think a lot of people say Garth Brooks is like the Babe Ruth, right? It's like you have to say that. I'm like, I don't know. I think Aldean's kind of past him.
I think Aldean's starting to stand for something, and that's much bigger than himself. And I think that's starting to show. And I think that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
And I did give him a hard time just in closing. I know we got to go because you got to work out, but I whispered in his ear, sweet nothings, last night. I go, listen, when this t-shirt line comes out around you, don't let it go to your head, because I am your brother-in-law and I will not let it happen.
That's right.
So,
well, we got Jason Aldean on this one. Britney Spears over there. Head to Chuck Wicks' Instagram, his wife's Instagram.
That's right.
Ad, not an ad. They're not paying me to say that, but maybe I should send them an invoice.
And then when you come to Nashville, shinersnashville.com.
That's right. Chuck, we love you. Thank you so much.
Love you, Sammy.
Love you. I'm so happy you were here.
I'm happy you were here. All right, now he's leaving. Let's have the real podcast.
Okay.